My older son was playing with his friend, and it was like, the house above ours. So he just came down running one day, and he's like, Mama, I heard a very weird sound. I was like, what kind of sound? So he told me that it was a man's voice, and he told us, Chale, jaao yahaan se.
A little disclaimer. While shooting this episode, in between, the lights went off. And very casually, our guest said, this happens wherever we go. No points for guessing who we're speaking to in this episode of the Humans of Bombay show. A pair of paranormal investigators, Sarbajeet and Pooja. Sarbajeet is a demonologist, and Pooja, a psychic and an energy healer. Their aim is simple, to educate people about paranormal activity. In this episode, we delve deep into how they communicate with spirits, signs from the other world, and decoding paranormal activity. Trust me, this one will give you the chills. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Really excited to have this conversation because paranormal activity is something that the world wants to know about.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm going to jump right into it.
Sure.
When was the
Absolutely.
first time you guys had your individual paranormal experiences?
Yeah. So this was, I think, close to 10, 11 years back when my house got haunted.
Yeah.
It was one fine day. So I have two boys, and my older son was playing with his friend, and it was like, the house above ours. So he just came down running one day, and he's like, Mama, I heard a very weird sound. I was like, what kind of sound? So he told me that it was a man's voice, and he told us, Chale, jaao yahaan se. And I said, it must be someone playing a prank, maybe our house help or somebody. He said, no, we checked, there was nobody around, and it was a very scary voice. And I could see the fear in his eyes, in both, he and his friend. And I just told him, okay, just ignore it. But that was something that, it caught my attention. And I was like, no. I told him, okay, let's go upstairs. Let's have a look. And there was no one there. I checked the entire house. There was no one there. No one around, balcony. No one. Anyways, I didn't want him to get scared. So I said, it's just something. Just ignore it. But, it was like that very night. I mean, I was sleeping and I had all my senses open because I was scared. Very honestly, I was scared. And both my boys and me were in the same room. And I started hearing voices outside my house. Outside my room. The chairs moving. I could hear footsteps, which would just stop outside my door. And then I could hear knocks and like somebody's nails just scratching on the door. And that actually scared the heck out of me, but I had no choice. I was like, I'll just go to sleep. Both my boys were asleep. But when that happened, my younger son, he was just, I think around 2.5 back then. He just sits up, his eyes tightly closed, and he started screaming, pointing towards the corner of, the room, one particular corner. And he kept saying, Mama bhar, out, because he couldn't talk properly back. And I was like, what's happening? He just kept shouting, Mama bhar. And I knew there was something happening outside. I anyways grabbed both the boys. I ran out of the room. And that is where he was a little peaceful and he slept off. So this continued for a very long time. Lot of things happened. If I get into the details of that, it's going to be long. But one thing that actually made me seek help was right in front of my eyes, the AC, the socket, the window ACs that we have, it just caught fire. It just burst right in front of my eyes. And I called the electrician and I asked him ki bhaiya just check karo, and he's like, madam, yahan kuch bhi kharab nahi, everything is fine, the AC is fine, wiring is fine, I just can't figure out what it is. Then I was like, no, this is getting, it's getting beyond what I can manage. And that is when I sought help. And that was another trauma in itself because no one was ready to believe me. They were like that, oh, it's your mind playing games. Yeah. Nothing like that happens. It's all crap, just stop watching horror stuff and all. And I'm like, no, guys, I know what's happening with me and I'm not making it up. Both my sons are affected. But anyways, a bunch of people didn't believe me, but there was another bunch who believed me, but they didn't know how to help me. So that is when, after undergoing a trauma for almost 2 months, I did get help. It was a psychic. He came to my place and he comes and tells me that, you know what, there are 6 entities here. But thankfully, the things were resolved. But that was something that, I had a lot of questions that what exactly happened? Why did it happen? And what if it happens again? How do I help myself and my family? And since I have psychic abilities, I can sense things around me. But this was something that was a wake-up call for me. And that is when I decided that I need to get into this field, learn more about it, get the right knowledge, help myself, and then I extended help to others. And that's when I met him.
So let's start with the basic, right?
Yeah.
How do you become a paranormal investigator? I mean, is there a degree? Do you study? Do you go to school? Like, what is your qualification?
Nothing. There's no school as such in India particularly, or I'll say in Asia, but in the Europe or in the States, that dedicated schools and colleges. But no, when we started off, there was nothing as such. It was purely on the idea that she's going to help out the entities and I'm going to help out the people. Let's blend our abilities of helping the souls of both the world and create something where people are not only getting benefited from our services, as in we are not letting them get looted by the X number of people who are there, considering the topic is so unknown, but we are also helping out the souls who are so much stuck in this world and need how do I say, a medium
Closure, basically.
or a closure.
Yeah, this is one field, like, it's the world of unknown. So you can never learn enough.
Yeah.
You guys have now decided that you're going to work together.
Yeah.
You're going to bring a certain level of interaction or elements that you understand, right, in terms of forces, and you're going to help the people.
Yeah.
On average, how many calls do you get?
It was not much because still believing paranormal investigators was, people used to doubt.
Yeah.
What about
Very
your
honestly.
families? Like when you told them that, okay, I'm going to become a paranormal
They
investigator.
had their own journeys, I think.
Yeah.
It's a very typical filmy way things unfolded. I was never expecting there would be so much drama around this thing. It was during the COVID, my father called me and he was like, what do you want? I said, see, I'm already investigating. I had some other projects too where I was doing, and I'm earning, and I'm doing good. I have a lot of plans, and just give me the next 6 months of my life. And I'm being honest. I want to do something in this field, and if you allow me, maybe you'll know that how passionate I am. And I said, ठीक है, but अगर 6 महीने में नहीं करेगा, so you have to come here. I remember my father sending me this text that either you have to come down, either you select your family or you be in Bombay. And this is way too dramatic. I'm not replying to you right now. But he allowed me the 6 months, and I think those 6 months in COVID, we kind of upgraded everything, our plans of creating a business out of what we do, apart from also helping out people. So that's how my parents had their own journey.
When you're stepping into the paranormal, the parents, the family is going to freak out because they fear our life. And I had lost my father by then, and my mom was freaking out on my decision because I was a teacher and I was a Zumba instructor. And her first response was, "Ki tu pagal ho rahi hai? You're going to stop working and you're going to run behind ghosts." That was her first. And the same thing, I told her that, Mom, I just need time.
Yeah.
Give us some time, and I think we'll prove ourselves. And we are trying to not only help people, but we are trying to create a huge shift in this complete genre, the horror and the paranormal. We have a mission. Please let us.
So what are typical cases like? Walk me through a typical call. Like, let's do a case study, right?
Yeah, a typical call would be...
I mean, let's take an actual case study. Like somebody's called you. How do you investigate? And what is the learning?
Yeah.
And, the information that I can get that gives me some context to whatever has happened.
Yeah.
Right.
So generally it's like we have a case manager. It starts with an Instagram DM right now. And they're like, sir, हमारे घर में ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है. So we have to ask for details, कि क्या हो रहा है. And then our first reaction to any of those things is, are you really sure it's paranormal?
Yeah.
Like, no, we are very sure. And I'm like, why? Like, no, but we are experiencing. So then we start kind of giving them all the logical answer to how you might be just hallucinating, and there is nothing paranormal right now. Your house could be on a high electromagnetic field. Electromagnetic field can actually make you hallucinate things, and that's what exactly happens when we spend a lot of time around gadgets. We start getting headache. That's called EMF pollution. And when we take it to the next level, an EMF that is created by Earth itself, then it will make you hallucinate things which are actually not there. You'll see shadows, you will hear things, you will see monster faces, you'll see monster figures. And since it's a family of four staying in the same house, sharing the same mindset, energy in a way, they will all hallucinate in similar patterns. So, and also we give them other scientific reasons like, LPG gas, if it is leaking, it can also make you hallucinate. If your house is next to an radio tower or mobile tower or an electrical grid or transformer, even they can make you hallucinate things.
So anything that radiates electromagnetic field, or if there is a geomagnetic energy going. So basically we have to remove all the scientific aspects
part to it.
That can cause a person to hallucinate, or it can look like paranormal activity is happening. Only after that's removed, we look into something that's bad.
No, let's go into a specific case.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like one specific case.
A real one?
Yeah, real case.
Yeah, so we got a case from Pai actually. She's a dear friend now, but we got this case, and she's like, pet cat is experiencing things, mother experiencing things, brother is experiencing things, she's experiencing things. For that matter, once she was online doing some studies with her friends, and their friends saw something moving behind her.
Oh my God.
To that extent.
Yeah.
And it was a shadow that moved, and she didn't see anything. Her friends were like, did you see something move? Was it your brother or something? And she's like, no, everyone is asleep. It's 2 a.m. of the night. And no, there is no one. So that was the first thing. Then the pet cat started reacting to certain things. He used to look at particular corners and would just give this staring reaction, like he's looking at something alien kind of a thing. Alien as in not
human form.
Yeah, not human form, or he hasn't seen this
because
often.
The eyes of the animals, they dilate in a particular way when they are seeing something that's
scaring them or is not normal. And apart from that, there was this sliding door they had in their bedroom, and one night her mother got up to this noise, and when she got up, she saw that the sliding door is opening on its own. And she was like shocked that what is happening, and she got Shweta up, and Shweta is like, yeah, when I saw it was opening. Then she got out and she saw, okay, shayad unke husband honge ya fir beta hoga, koi to hoga, but there was no one. At one point, her brother was in the last one of the rooms, and he had put one of the lights or fans or something, and it switched off on its own. So there's a lot of things that were happening. And also one more thing, in the same room, they're sleeping, they heard a knocking coming from the cupboard.
Yeah, from inside the cupboard.
Inside the cupboard. So they thought it's a cat who is inside. And when they opened, there was absolutely nothing. So all these things, there are a few things which we were like, this doesn't look like hallucination. And they were living in an apartment. So if they're hallucinating, which means all the people in that apartment should be hallucinating. If it is something natural. But
like a building complex, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
So no one else was complaining, and we were like, okay, let's go and investigate. And Pooja and I were there. And there was one more person, I think, who was just helping with the gadgets. While we were trying to investigate, Pooja had already said that the mirrors do... She had a lot of mirrors. There are a lot of mirrors in the house.
In the house, yeah.
And every place she mentioned, the activities have happened, the points, there was a mirror. And that we figured out during our investigation. That every point she said, like the sliding door right in front of the door, there was a mirror. The cupboard right in front of the cupboard, there is a mirror. Where the friend saw a shadow, there is a mirror. The kitchen, there is a mirror. So every place she mentioned, there is a mirror. So Pooja, when she was taking the psychic reading, I think you said that there are some old energies, like someone did something in the past.
Yeah.
And the mirrors have kind of... So, by now we have seen that mirrors are kind of... I think it would be way too dramatic to say, but they're kind of portal to the spirit world in a way. And I know I said it's way too dramatic, but we have seen that, and we are not
have a room full of mirrors.
But there's certain
interesting to know.
But there's certain ways to place the mirrors actually, and I think Vastu people can say talk more about that.
Vastu compliant.
Yeah. So then there's no issue
be
at
a
all.
problem.
But for a good bunch of people, they don't know. She had those mirrors. And Pooja said, there are a lot of things captured in this mirror. And we started an investigation with the gadget, and I'm moving around in the house and getting nothing. And then we reach one point, and Pooja is like, you should go near to the mirror that is there.
And there was this, I remember one particular mirror
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was right opposite the window of the kitchen. So
Yes,
it
yes.
was, one mirror that was facing the window. So that was like a proper,
Gateway.
a proper gateway, like an energy portal that was formed between the two. So this is the place.
Yeah.
Get your gadget here.
And the gadget was all dormant the entire time, and I took near the mirror and started ting ting and started happening. And I'm like, how can it happen? It's a mirror, it has no wiring. And then we went to every single point of the mirrors, and every time we went close to a mirror, the device blinked. And we are like, yeah, so the mirrors have something. Then we were like, what, since Shweta is the person who has experienced most, why not call her? Let's see what the entities feel about her. Because generally the entities are very territorial. They are like, ये हमारा जगह है, आप आके क्यों रह रहे हो? Because they are still stuck in that timing that, okay, this was our flat or this was our land. Why are you coming and staying in our land? And so we are like, if Shweta is the new owner, then maybe when she comes in, we might see some activities and we might see something happening around her. Maybe the shadow forms again. And as paranormal investigators, we are always on the lookout that we should capture some evidence, some empirical evidence that will kind of give proof of the afterlife. There's nothing to prove anyone else, but to prove our own self that, okay, this can also happen. We had no idea about this. And that's why, like she said, every case is different. And Shweta was brought in, with Shweta, Pooja was sitting. So just to give you a visual idea, they were sitting near the dining table, Pooja and Shweta. And I'm sitting here, and next to me was this thing, like a stand. And on that stand, they had the telephone or something, and I kept my device there. And as we are asking questions, and Shweta is asking questions that, why are you here at my place? Why are you disturbing me? We do not like you here.
She's like talking to the entity.
Entities, yeah. So we're helping her with the questions, because it's very important, because hum to nikal ke chale jayenge, it's the client that has to stay. So psychologically too, she has to be prepared that, yes, things are normal now. So for that, she has to face it upfront. And so she's asking question, and I'm looking at them, and the device is right here. I can see the device. So it's like I'm talking to you. I can see there's a glass here. So if the glass falls, I'll know. So as I'm looking at them and they're asking question, this device of mine, it was kept right here, and it slides to the edge of the stand. And it happened right in front of me. And I'm like, yeah, it's happening. So they are manifesting right now. So, but as part of our investigation, we also do what we call as triggering them. And the triggering process is basically involves when the spirits are way too adamant to reply. Because at the end of the day, they are like, no, humko baat nahi karni hai. So we can't force them, but it's fine if a place is a public place. So we said, ki, theek hai, nahi baat karna to mat karo. But if there's a client and they have to stay there, we have to get some answers. So that's why we trigger them in a way. We try to, I know it's not safe and no one should do it who are watching this. We kind of challenge them in a way that, that this is our place now. Shweta is leaving. We are the new owners. Why don't you do something to us? And we'll see what happens. And as I think we were doing this, we are in the bedroom and we were kind of triggering it to open the sliding door. So the door didn't open, but we heard the knockings from the cupboard. It happened with the three of us. Shweta was with us as well. She was there with us, and she was, talking, and she was trying to get answers. And she says, I did hear the knock. So I said, yeah, we all heard that. And we kept on investigating. At one point, Pooja was like, you know what? I think the only way we can help out this family is if we remove the mirrors completely. And because the mirrors are kind of triggering everything, they are containing those old energies, and they're kind of like reflecting it back and manifesting them in the reality. So why not we remove the mirrors? And I said, yeah, let's do that. And so we just asked the entities, would you be happy if we remove the mirrors? And the answer was no.
How are you getting answers?
So the gadgets, it's like a yes or no always. It's like in binary, let's say.
Right.
Because the gadgets, of course, we use other gadgets where we can capture their voices as well. But we have to understand that the spirits, and that's why, it's totally not. That's why not a lot of people in our videos too, when we investigate, people ask, "Arey, humko to lekin koi figure nahi dikha," like usually it's shown in movies, because the entities do not get energies to manifest. They also need energy to manifest, like we need energy to operate. And if they don't get it, then they will never be able to manifest. And the giving yes or no is the easiest thing they can do. So we do not force them if they do not have the energy.
So they said no to removing these mirrors in
Yeah.
that way.
Yes.
Right.
And so we were like, "Okay, we understand you are attached to this place, but it's high time that you have to leave." And you won't believe, Karishma, that a lot of entities, almost, let's say, out of 10 cases, there will be 9 entities. The entities have no idea they are dead. They are like, we are still alive. We still have to do this job that we are assigned. And that's why, even after, let's say, a person who is doing a corporate job, if he or she passes away and the family is in the same house, the family might hear the utensils happening or the shoes tumbling on their own. It's because the entity is like, no, I have to go to work. And so they do those things again and again. So they are in the loop. They have no idea
so
that...
when you request them,
yes, we kind of inform them.
Yeah, and then we just make them realize
that's important.
That, that you're no more and this is not your space. There's a better world waiting for you.
Of this particular case, in case of this girl, we were like, no, the only way, because the entities are way too adamant. And even if we have to ask them, or even if we are making them realize, they are like, we know we are dead, but still we want to be here. And so they're like, kind of, they knew what they're doing. So we said, nahi, aap ek kaam karo. We remove all the mirrors and see what happens. So they removed all the mirrors and removed, in a way, they changed the placements. I think they asked some Vastu.
The one, one, I asked them to remove one of them, the one which was right opposite the
mirror
window. So one of them was removed. The others, I told them to cover it or, to change the position and stuff.
Yes.
And that's all they did. And the things were sorted.
Yeah. We have that mirror now.
We have that mirror, we collect objects. We collect haunted objects.
Yeah, so we'll get the mirror, we'll keep it with us. But now they're fine. The family's fine. Things subsided instantly after the mirrors were, placed in a different way and the main mirror was removed. And they're fine now. Yeah.
Wow.
But even after, these cases, in this case, she was quite fine. The mother was quite fine. But in a lot of other cases, I think the people are very traumatized to what they went through. And that's when Pooja comes in or other counselors come in and they are like, it's a counseling session.
Then they need counseling. Yeah. They need to get out of that trauma.
Yeah.
So till whatever, they need us to help them. We are there for them. And then.
So we have a very interesting set of questions. It's to bust certain myths, right, about the paranormal. Do witches really have their feet backwards?
Do you have?
He calls me a witch.
I think that's because you should answer.
Yeah. So there's a very wrong notion about witches, very honestly. Witches are not the way they are believed to be. Because when we say the word witch, normally what comes to our mind is inverted feet or, long nose, riding on the broom with a tapering hat.
Think of Hermione Granger when people say witch.
But very honestly, and I'm so glad you got this question here, because witches are the most misunderstood, people. They were actually healers. They were actually very, very positive beings, but they were not understood because of the powers that they had. They used to, use the forces of nature, the elements of nature to help people heal and to create magic, whatever they did. But it's just because of this small section of the bad ones who use their powers for the bad, the entire community got a bad name.
Right.
So witches are not supposed to be feared.
And they don't have their feet
backwards. They don't have their feet backwards.
Okay. Do ghosts really reside on people trees?
Ghost सिर्फ people के tree में नहीं होता है.
कहीं भी हो सकते हैं.
Yeah.
Where did the story of a female ghost in a white sari chasing cars come about?
So, I think it's a very wrong thing. I think that it's always the females who have been shown as witches and ghosts and spirits.
It's always the women.
It's always the women.
And I'm like, why? It's because, I don't know. I don't have any reason, but I think it has its own roots somewhere in the back. As a male-dominant society, the white sari concept or the white clothes concept comes from the point that every person who dies, and if they have a soul, of course everyone has a soul, but it is said that soul is as pure as white, or the soul is very pure, and the color that is very pure is white. So if there is a soul and the soul is coming out of the body when the physical body dies, so it must be white.
Yeah.
So that is where the concept of white came in. But then with stories and movies and a lot of things happened in India, and outside we started putting them the sari thing and everything.
That's just the creative liberty.
Yeah, I don't know why, and it irritates us right now when we hear. We drive all across the national highways at night. We have yet to see a lady chasing.
And 10 years of investigation, we are still finding that white sari ghost.
Yes.
Not yet come across her.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, so we have a really interesting segment coming up. We have somebody who's actually been through paranormal activity here with us. His name is Dhaval. He's from Bombay.
Okay.
We're going to invite him here. And we're going to figure out if we can match the pieces. So he's going to explain his paranormal, what happened to him.
Done.
And you guys can maybe try figure it out. Yeah.
Sure.
Hi Dhaval, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're very interested to hear about your experiences, and hopefully they can kind of add context to your experiences.
Sure. So, my experience is from 2009-10. I was preparing for my post-graduation studies, and late night I used to watch movies and sleep around 3ish or so. This happened at one night. Generally, just to give you a little context, I put on 17 degree, like, lowest temperature air condition, and then I turn on the fan at full speed.
Oh, wow.
And then I take a blanket and then I sleep. So I was sleeping like that, and around 3:30 a.m. Or so, I was in my deep sleep, and suddenly my feet went very cold, and then that sensation just progressed till chest, till here, and then suddenly it gave me so much pressure that I was not able to move. So I thought maybe something is wrong with my body. I ignored it for 30 seconds or a minute or so. Then it gave me a lot of pressure, and I was fully awake. I was not like, I was half awake, and this is kind of a sleep paralysis. Then it lasted around, for half an hour or so. And
you couldn't speak?
I couldn't speak. I tried to speak. My mom generally sleeps near to me and in the same room. So I was trying to speak. I was not able to speak. So then I struggled a lot, and I lost all my energy. I lost an energy like, I'm exhausted now. And then around 4:30, 4:45, I slept. Next day morning when I woke up, I told my mom that, did you hear anything abnormal, paranormal like that? Or how was the night overall? She said, everything is okay, and you stop watching movies late night, and I think this is the after effects of that and all. So I said, okay, fine. I Googled it, and I came to know that this is called sleep paralysis. And I was very happy to know that this is not paranormal. Then what happened is, same thing repeated on the night. It was with double intensity. And when I tried to speak, my mouth got twisted like this. And the language what I was talking, I was not able to recognize. What is it? That time my mom heard it. And she acknowledged that there was something wrong. Next day morning, I told mom what to do. I'm not able to figure out. She said, why don't you go to doctor? So I went to doctor. I told doctor, this is what it is. So he gave me tranquilizers. He gave me some antidepressants. He said, this will give you a good sleep. And I tried that also. Around 10:30, I tried to sleep. I woke up at 3:30 again. Same thing. And this time, it pulled my leg. And I was really scared. I was sweating in 17 degree. I was trying to call mom. Mom was just next bed. I was not able to call. I was not able to speak.
There was just no sound.
There was no sound. And then I went to doctor again. I told, this is not working out. So he said, you are not waking up. You are dreaming. Next day morning, my mom told, what happened to you? You were trying to struggle and you were trying to talk to me, but you couldn't. So I said, that was real. That was not imagination or a dream. So then I tried many things. My mom gave me a scissor or a knife to put below the pillow so that, all these things doesn't come. She gave me dhaga, did not work. I'm a big Hanuman follower, so I was enchanting Hanuman Chalisa, did not work. Nothing worked. For 6 months, it continued like this. So now my sleep pattern was that as soon as 3:30 a.m. or 3 a.m. comes, I know this is going to happen. And I was fully awake. So I started doing some time pass or some browsing on mobile till 3 a.m. because, and I was actually stretching myself. I was not able to sleep. And then my sleep pattern was around 5 a.m. I used to sleep, 5:30 a.m. So I told my parents, this can't go on like this. Like, there's something really wrong.
Yeah.
I was not able to figure out. But that auntie told me, have you tried fighting it on your own? I said, how do I fight? I don't know. I mean, what do I do when this happens? She said, try to fight it out. Try to talk more hard. Or maybe try to get up. Try to get up. Try to move your body. I said, I'm not able to do. And it went to a level where it was pulling my leg. What do I do? So then she said that slowly, gradually, first surrender yourself. And then think of the worst case scenario. What could be the consequence? You'll be dead. And then I surrendered myself and I'm like, okay, bring it on. Let's see what happens. And believe me, then the duration of this episode became less and less. And then it just vanished one fine day. It took me around 7 to 8 months. I fought on my own. So after that, I have that confidence that if you face any paranormal activity in life, first thing is we are in denial whether it's paranormal or not. If it is paranormal, if you are not able to establish the scientific way, then the next best thing is to fight it out. What is best possible way?
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, guys?
The
Pooja,
moment you started
Sarbajeet.
talking, I had such a choking sensation in my throat. Was your throat affected a lot
Yes,
that time?
yes.
Because I was coughing. I was not coughing all this while. I felt such a choky sensation in my throat, and I was like, no, whatever he's saying is, his throat was really affected.
Yes, my throat was affected, and it was like I was paralyzed till here. And when I started talking, my mouth became like this. I was not able to talk.
Yeah, that's all connected to the throat chakra.
Yeah.
And I had tear trickling because I couldn't bear that sensation.
Yeah.
Sarbajeet, what do you think?
Totally no disrespect to what you experienced. But if you ask me strictly from a paranormal investigator point of view, my take will be, and again, this is just an angle, it needs more investigation, is that, and please don't get angry on me. I think this was an extreme case of sleep paralysis, because the process you did to came out is exactly what is supposed to be done.
And I absolutely caught to the fear that he had and the choky sensation. You were really traumatized back then because I could feel it.
Thank you so much for joining us, and so happy that you're
Yeah.
doing well and over that really traumatic time. I can only imagine how traumatic it was.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's do this fun thing.
Yeah.
What is the tool of your trade? Like, there's this really cool machine-ish thing that I'm looking at. How do you use it? I mean, let's not use it because I don't know what I want to find here.
I'm sure it will beep.
It will blink,
because of the amount of, let's just say, because
Yes,
of the amount of
yes.
electricity and lighting and things.
Yes. This is EDI. EDI stands for Environmental Detection Equipment, or how do I say, Environmental Detection Instrument. EDI is actually made by a group of paranormal investigators using the industrial theories and paranormal theories, and you can see there are a lot of LEDs here. And I'll just switch it on. This is what it does.
So this is when there is.
So
like,
this
there's
thing is because there's
electricity.
EMF here.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
there's mic, so it has to beep.
Yeah.
But the more we take it away, the more it will decrease. But we know this studio
It's
has
like
a lot of
there's heavy,
wires.
yeah.
So it will keep on happening. But there's one thing you can see if I keep it niche, the orangish one. It will not happen after some time. So that's the geosensor. So any vibration that happens, if I do this, it will detect. Now, apart from that, there is a PRS, that means pressure. There is HUM, that means humidity, and there's a temperature which senses any changes. So basically what it does is, I'll switch it off or it'll keep making this noise.
Yeah. I was going to suggest.
So all these parameters are basically what we look for when we are investigating the paranormal, because every time there is a manifestation of, so we call spirits energy. We don't call them spirits or ghosts. It's for the normal people to understand. But in our terms, they are energies. They are intelligent energies which can understand and have information that normal humans don't have. So every time there's a manifestation of these entities, there has to be some changes in the environment. It happens with human beings as well. When it comes to paranormal investigation, we try capturing those fluctuations. This device helps in capturing those fluctuations. So that's why we use these gadgets to document every such thing.
This is like a structured scientific approach of figuring out what's happening
Yes.
in that
Area.
above that spectrum.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
Or let's say Pooja sensed that there is something out here, and if Pooja is sensing, a lot of places they give a rating and we might not find it, or we don't find it, and that doesn't mean that the entity is not out there. It only means that the entity is not powerful enough to manifest and show its presence to be captured in a device like that.
So, there are lots of places in India that have this history.
Yeah.
And we were just discussing offline. One of them is, say, Kuldhara in Jaisalmer.
Yes.
We've actually visited there.
Yes.
There's also Jatinga in Assam.
Yes.
There are a couple of such places. Have you guys visited? What was the experience?
We have been to Kuldhara.
We've investigated Kuldhara.
I think it's one of the favorite places to investigate and also to be there, just to feel the energies out there. You mentioned you've been to Kuldhara.
Yeah, but we went in broad daylight. And we were let's form a pack and go.
Okay. So while we were investigating the place, we had Savio, and as we were doing that, and Savio got pulled to this particular direction, particular ruin, and he was like, you know what, I'm sensing something really strong that is deep inside this place, this earth basically. And Pooja was standing there, and Pooja is like, "Hey, are you sensing like a toy kind of a thing?" He said yes. So by now we were all together. There was no discussion or anything. And then both of them start digging directly. And I'm like, "What are you guys doing right now?" And like, no, there's a toy, and if we can just get closer to it, maybe we can retrieve some more information by, But I'm like, this we are talking like what, 18th century or 19th century, and
it was inhabited.
Yeah, and it's like कितना एक तो desert में है, desert storm से कितना वो ढक चुका होगा in the layers. There is no way you can reach. So they were like, no, we know, but we just want to get closer to it.
The main reason of why we began to dig was because we were sensing a child entity. And it was a small kid, and it was wanting the toy that was dug deep inside.
Yeah.
So that is the reason we tried digging it, but
so I think there's no way, but then while we were trying to do that, we started asking few questions that do we actually have a child that is talking to us? And we were using something like shit. I'm very animated when I talk. Sorry. So we were using something like this, and the gadget just started going crazy suddenly, and I'm like kind of flabbergasted standing there. I'm like, so there's actually a child spirit that is manifesting, because I thought you might be tapping into some kind of residual energy. So we asked this question that, is this toy yours? And we got the answer, yes. And did this house belong to you? Like, yes. And Pooja and Sabi were also, I think you were sensing that there is his father or someone died mysteriously, as in untimely. And we again asked that question, and we are getting some answers. And he was like, are you ready to go without your toy? Because why are you here? So he's like, no, I want my toy in that angle. So I'm like, abhi kya karna hai? Like, should we help him, or what do we do? The most we can do is just let him know that, it's been years, centuries for that matter, that you hid your toy here. And during that process only, Savio got, both of them actually, they were like, you know what, there is one more lady, like a spirit lady, who is calling us to her house, which is like a bit away from this current one. I'm like, yeah, we'll go there, but what to do with the kid? And that is when something struck me, and I'm like, you know what, why don't we offer him something like a sweet?
Yeah.
Because he's a kid. So we had a chocolate in my pocket, and so we kept it, and then we all of us realized, oh shit, this is like, how would the kid know कि उसको wrapper खोलना है, because तब शायद chocolate अलग होता होगा, मिठाई अलग होती होगी, not like in wrappers. So we were like, no, what we do is, we'll open it up for you. So we opened it up and we kept it there, and we explained the child that, what, this is just a मिठाई होती थी ना जब आप खाते थे, exactly वैसा ही taste करता है. In case you want to take, you can take. Now of course we know that it won't be coming and eating, but just to satisfy, or just to help him like be on the same page that we understand कि आपको अपना toy नहीं मिल रहा है, but this is the best we can do. I hope we help you out. That was the end of that particular segment, and then we went to the other side where the lady was calling, and we entered the house, and we were not getting any answers, and I'm like, अरे तुम लोग को तो कुछ इधर मिल रहा था, but why I'm not getting anything? So that's when I trigger. I said, क्या रे आपके घर में आए हैं, आप चाय पानी के लिए नहीं पूछोगे क्या? So everyone knows that it's old and there's no chai pani, there's no house out there. But just to have a conversation, start a conversation, break the ice, I asked this question, and we just realized that the lady did invite us, but she's not going to give us any water or anything as such, because for her we're still outsiders. So
and she was not happy. You remember why she was not happy?
Because I kept one of the devices in a shelf kind of a thing, and Pooja said, please remove that because she's not happy.
That was a temple.
Yeah.
And he kept one of our devices there.
Yeah, so
and
I had no
idea
that it was a
and
temple.
I could suddenly sense that, anger. I'm like, I'm not angry. Where am I sensing this anger from? And then I get this that, wow, this lady is not happy. Take the device off. That was her temple.
Yeah.
And then the moment we took it off from there, and then I think she communicated.
Yeah, she started talking.
Communicate.
So we use this device like I called the Spirit Box. Spirit Box is a device that scans radio frequencies. And in that white noise, we started capturing voices now of a female, which was completely dormant from the very beginning. And during that process, I'm asking questions, we are getting replies on the devices and other things. And that is when both Pooja and Savio both are like, you know what, Saba, what we are feeling? That these people, like this particular family was quite wealthy. Like we can sense there are things which are dug and like kept inside the earth right now. And then I'm like, but...
No, that was a complete vision. It was a complete vision that the entire village, entire Kuldhara, that those ruins have things dug inside.
Yeah, so they were anticipating that
They'll come back.
that will come back later. Like they left in a hurry for whatever reason, as the history says or the people say, but they were planning to come back, but for some reason they couldn't come back. So things are still there. And these two psychics are like, okay, bring these scanners and we will see there is definitely something in there. And I'm like, it's not possible, that. Last year, November, when we went and we had this local contact, and he says, what happened in Kuldhara? I'm like, what? They have started discovering something. And we were like, what? He said, okay, now people are saying, researchers saying that there are things inside Kuldhara जो कि इतने सालों से किसी को नहीं मिल रहा था. And I'm like, ये हमने already investigation में दिखा दिया है 2 साल पहले. The psychics already got it that there is something, and that's why the entities are coming back, because they're attached to these objects.
Yeah.
They're attached to the things that they have kept, and it's not just toys or money, but there are weapons which they had kept for their self the protection, and lot of things were kept there.
Because they just had to flee, they couldn't have carried everything or whatever happened back then. So a lot of things were just kept there, dug inside, and they left.
Yeah.
That's still there.
And this is what we
And
got
this
to
was
see.
nowhere. I mean, we were so happy to actually
validate it.
Yeah.
Yes. Because last year is like, अरे ये तो हमने already 2 साल पहले बोला है.
How
Like,
fascinating.
this happened. This is like happening. They're planning to do something. I don't know, but this happened. Yeah.
So fascinating. It's been a very interesting conversation. Got
Same
a lot of
here.
answers and a lot of scary things also. But thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you for being on the Humans of Bombay show with
Thank
us.
you.
And
Thank you.
wishing you a lot of luck, and hopefully you help out a lot more people with what you do.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being the best community, and we'll see you in the next one.